to episode 9 of 20 Questions With. Today's special guest is drum legend Roy Mayorga of bands such as NAUSEA, Stone Sour, Ministry, SOULFLY, Hellyeah, and so many more. I'm so excited to have him on. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Erin Micklow, and I host a show on YouTube called Last Rockers TV, where I interview bands, cover their live sets, and do festival recaps. So let's bring Roy on. Hi, everyone. Oh, is he in here? Ah! Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. Just a second. There we go. Happy Saturday!
All right, now I'm
Hi. How are you?
Hi, Erin. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Hang on. There's something back here idling. Let me turn that off. Okay. It's driving me nuts. Okay. Sorry about
It's
that.
like a light hum. So let's start things off with a drink. It's Saturday. What is your drink of choice?
My Death Wish coffee and my coffee mug.
Nice. I have a fruit smoothie in my Frankie's Tiki Room mug. I wasn't going to drink today, but I changed my mind. So.
What you got there? Malibu and what else?
It's a fruit smoothie. That's it. It's going to be like a light cocktail. It's not going to be like a Frankie style cocktail. Have you ever been there?
No.
Oh my God. I've never been there and not blacked out. Their drinks are way too strong.
What's Frankie's? What is that?
It's a tiki bar in Vegas.
Okay, I've never been to that one. No, I wouldn't even know about it. Okay, I'll go there next time.
Yeah, if we ever get out of quarantine.
Yeah, if we ever get out. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to everyone out there that's watching and listening and whatever.
So let's jump into the questions. You and your wife have a little girl, and you're always boasting about her on your pages. What is the toughest thing about being a dad?
Well, toughest thing about being a dad, I mean, especially in the line of work I'm doing, I mean, obviously just being on tour all the time and being away from them, I mean, that's a huge bum out. I miss a lot. I miss out. You don't get any of that time back. But fortunately for right now, and as unfortunate as it is that we're all quarantined, I'm able to stay home and be home with her a lot more. So, and any minute I have when I'm not touring, it's only with her and nothing else.
That's awesome. What have you guys been doing like in this quarantine time together?
Just been, obviously spending a lot of time together and doing homeschooling and just trying to have a little bit of normalcy around the house. That's about it. I've been working on some music and trying to be creative, with some time that we have, and that's it.
I've seen like on your Instagram before that you play with makeup with your daughter. I think that's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're gonna be like a pro makeup dad, where you're gonna allow her to wear makeup when she kind of gets into that age.
Well, she's been doing the whole makeup thing. I mean, obviously my wife's a hair and makeup artist, so the inspiration was definitely from the beginning, right? Since she's come out of the womb, and the next person in line for her to experiment on is dear old dad, and I'm cool with that. And I she lets me do makeup on her, and it's fun. It's great. I love that. I love.
That's awesome.
Great being dad. It really is.
That sounds fun. So over the years, you've had a ton of different hairstyles because you always are posting like throwback photos on your Instagram and stuff. What has been one of your favorite hairstyles that you've had? You've had a lot.
My favorite hairstyle? I don't know. I never really thought about it like that. I mean, the hairstyle I had mostly was probably just mohawks and big hair like yours, It's about it. That's always fun to do. You spray it up, you leave it up until it falls over, and then spray it again, and don't worry about it, I don't know.
Yeah, I've had my hair up for 3 days now. It's fucking itchy.
That's a lot of hairspray, I'm sure, right?
It is. My hair's actually getting a little too long right now. I need to trim it. They're getting like scary long.
Yeah, it's a little bit, yeah. Probably hard to be walking through doorways with that, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I went to the post office yesterday to drop some packages just in the outside box, and there were some trees, and I had to, like, duck to go under the trees.
Yeah, that's fun.
So out of all your hairstyles,
I never let it get that long. I mean, after a while, like, you know, playing drums, it kind of gets in your face, and you start wearing all that hair product in your eyes, and you get blind. So that kind of stopped after a while because of that.
yeah, being a girl, like, I mean, when my hair is down, it just looks normal. But being a girl, like, I don't want my hair to be too short. Because then, you know, also with, like, Liberty spikes, you know, if they're too short, your back ones will be, you know, you kind of, like, to have like, shorter hair, you kind of have to have a mullet when your hair is down so it looks good when your hair's up, you know?
It's cool. I guess you got it down. You have it all down. You got it
Well,
all.
even now, I mean, like, a lot of guys that have, like, mohawks, too, or, like, kind of the death hawks, it's like a little bit shorter in the front and like longer in the back.
It's all floppy. Yeah. I had that for a while too. That's fun. Wake up with it all pasted to your face. Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Oh God. Yeah, I don't normally get that sweaty being a girl, you know, I gotta protect the makeup too, so.
Of course.
So what's your least favorite hairstyle out of all the ones you've had? What's the one you look back and you're just like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Well, I mean, you're talking about for me or just
for you?
What I feel about any hairstyle in general. I don't know. I never really hated any hairstyle I had, honestly. Just never really thought about it, really. So, I mean, I've had every hairstyle you could possibly imagine, from, you know, the 70s bowl cut. And maybe that was kind of funny, but I kind of liked it because it almost was reminiscent of, like, the Ramones bowl cut. So I kind of went with it at that time. Every kid had it, you know, all mid 70s to late 70s. Every kid. It represents.
Oh no, you froze for a minute. There we go. You're back.
What did you miss? Did I freeze on something?
You froze for a minute, but you're back now. You're back. It got slow for a moment. But yeah, the bowl cuts. I remember reading Dee Dee Ramone's biography, and he talked about, like, how he just got so fucking sick of it. So when he left the Ramones, it's like, or towards the end, that's when he chopped all his hair off. He's like, I'm so sick of this bowl cut.
Yeah, he hated it. That's true. Yeah. But, you know, like I said, it's one of those things, like, growing up as a kid, you don't really have a choice of what haircut to get. That's something that your parents at the time were like, you're going to have this haircut and that's it. And by the time I think 12, 13, 14, that all kind of changed. And hence all the pictures I've been posting.
Yeah. I know, I like all your throwback pictures. They're funny. It's like, you've been in the game for a really, really long time.
What's that?
You've been in the game for such a long time. You've been drumming forever.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So next question.
Been drumming.
So back in 2011.
A long time.
Ooh, sorry. Are we having a bad connection?
Yeah. Let me
are we having like a lag? There's like a delay. Okay.
I apologize. I think
no,
my little girl's
I
watching
think,
Minions
we were
right
having
now,
like a delay.
Soaking up the bandwidth. What's that?
I think we were having like a delay where
Let me get off the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
How's that?
That's better.
Yeah. Sorry, the bandwidth on the Wi-Fi is being held up because my little girl's watching Minions.
Okay, well, so let's jump back into our questions.
All right.
On a more serious note, back in 2011, you suffered a stroke where it affected your mobility in your left arm. Can you talk about like the process of recovering for you and how you kind of overcame that? Because obviously you're back and you're stronger than ever now playing.
Yeah. Well, well, I didn't lose mobility in my left arm. Basically lost all feeling on my left side. And the motor skills that got messed up was my equilibrium. That got messed up, which I couldn't like walk straight. I couldn't stand up for more than like half a second or I'd fall down, like, because I had no balance. My eyes were crossed. Everything was just messed up. And that took me about several to 9 months to get better from that. And I was like, put on blood thinners and all that stuff and acupuncture and, did the whole physical therapy thing. It was messed up. Yeah, that happened to me on tour when I was on tour with Stone Sour. Like after a show, I fell to the floor like a ton of bricks. I had no idea what happened to me. I thought like my drink might have been compromised with some substances, but because that's what it felt like. And then I was taken to the hospital, and then they did tests, and they came back with me saying you had a stroke. And I was like, that's impossible. I eat good. I'm healthy. I don't use my body with drugs and any of that stuff. And like, what's the deal? And they said it was basically a trauma injury in my neck from years of headbanging as I play. And that's what they told me, because I was telling them, they were asking me, what do you do for a living? I play drums. I'm like, okay, how do you play drums? I go, well, I can't really demonstrate it. I go, what do you mean? They're like, well, we want to see how you play drums because we think there could be a connection here. So I showed them YouTube clips, and they're like, okay, you can't be doing that anymore. That's the reason why this is happening. You basically, my vertebrae, you have like two vertebral arteries back here that go through your vertebrae. Just from the right move, just crunched the artery, the inner lining wall of my artery between the two vertebrae, and that ruptured the inside, and that caused a clot, and that cut off all blood supply to this part of my brain. That's what made me fall to the ground. And I did nerve damage, so that explains the whole pins and needles and no feeling on my left side. And that took about the nerve part, that took about 5-6 years to get normalcy and feeling on that. So now I'm actually okay. It's 10 years later, I'm doing all right. There's a lot of details. There's so many details in that story, man. It was just a horrible experience. That all happened like literally like 4 months before my daughter was going to be born. So I was nervous about that. It's like, great, I'm going to be a father. Am I going to be okay? I need to be able to learn. I got to learn how to be able to drive. My wife back and forth to the hospital. And luckily by that point, this was in May this happened, and this is September, where I was given the green light that I was able to drive. So I started driving, so it worked out. But still, I was nervous, every day. I was a nervous wreck up until they took me off the meds and gave me the green light saying that you're not a time bomb, you're okay. Here's 81 milligrams of baby aspirin for the rest of your life. That's it.
So, but how has that affected you playing now? I mean, have you just learned to not headbang, which is something that was so natural for you, or?
Well, because that was my timekeeper. The way I move my body when I play helps me keep time, just subconsciously and naturally. So what I had to do is, I had to relearn how to play because I didn't touch my drums for months, and I was scared to because I was scared to do any kind of movement, or I thought I was going to rupture something, And being on the blood thinners, you're able to do something like that. You bang your head hard by accident, you can, rupture the inside and, have a hemorrhage or whatever. But what I had to do is set my drums up a lot differently. Sit a little higher because I used to sit pretty low, so everything was up here, and I was kind of like here, so that's what messed up my neck. So I figured if I set up a little higher, I'll be more on top of the drums. And it worked out better. If anything, I feel like I'm a better player now because I'm focusing more here than going crazy. But now I have like a good balance in between the two. I'm still able to express the emotions playing as a drummer and, still play and not be too out of control off the rails. You know what I'm saying? I'm in more control now drumming than I used to be. I feel better now. It took a few years to get used to that, but I'm in a better place now in every level in my life and my drumming, my family, everything's good.
But you hear that about like a lot of drummers that drum in that style, the kind of
Oh,
animal
what's
style.
this guy's name? Hang on. This guy is Roy. How you doing? What's your name? Punk Rock Tony. Hi, Punk Rock Tony. Nice to meet you.
So, like a lot of drummers out there that drum in that style where you're drumming really, really low, kind of like Animal from like Sesame Street, like Travis Barker drums like that too. And he just talks about all the injuries he's had over the years as well. I mean, it's a common style, and with it comes like a lot of injuries.
Yeah, it's like sports, sports injury. It's exactly what that was. It's exactly how that doctor made it to be. It's like it's sports injury, That injury that I have can come about through getting rear-ended in a car, because at first they thought I was in a car accident. I'm like, I wasn't. And they're like, looks like you had years worth of whiplash building on top of each other. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that explains a lot.
Headbanging is hard. Like the couple times that I've done headbanging, I was like, fuck, my neck really hurts the next day.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you don't think about it, and yeah, if you don't do it for a long period of time and then you go back to play and you start doing that headbanging thing, you do get sore there. And there's a term that we use called rock neck. And that's what I was getting. Like after the show, I'm like, why do I have rock neck? That's really weird. And then a moment later, I'm on the floor.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is so scary. It's horrible.
It is. It's really scary, So my advice to everyone out there is be careful. Don't hit.
But it's like if your number's up, your number's up for stuff. It's like you can only be so careful in life.
Yeah, exactly.
So. So next question, best, worst memory from your early days squatting in the Lower East Side, New York City, around the time when you were in NAUSEA?
I got a lot of great memories. Definitely some crazy, weird memories I don't really wish to talk about. But the good memories I have is I made a lot of great friends that I still fortunately talk to, and unfortunately there's some that didn't make it. What I loved about that time, it was during a time where I was, figuring myself out and learning how to live. You know what I mean? Like that was like being thrown into the deep end of the ocean and figuring it out, how to survive and how to live. I was 18 or 17 years old when I came into that whole life.
That's crazy. Yeah, I have some friends that squatted around that time too. JJ from Discharge and Brad from Leftover Crack. They were kind of in that time of the Lower East Side. Obviously, like all of my friends in New York, they say it's changed so much. It's just not how it used to be anymore.
It's funny, JJ and I never met each other, though. We were on the same circle of people. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think he sounds incredible in Discharge. He's doing killer. You're doing
well, I didn't know this until after I interviewed him, but he's actually originally from New Jersey. He's not. Yeah. I didn't know that because he has like a weird hybrid accent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sounds great in that band.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's the scariest thing you ever saw living in the squats?
Scariest thing. Well, a lot of fights, a lot of brawls, man, just between people that live there, within, the hallways. I'll be coming home and seeing people getting into big, massive group fights over whatever that be, substances, food, stuff like that. But I don't want to paint that life, that picture, because there was a lot of cool things, involved in that. I met a lot of cool musicians, a lot of great bands. Got to play a lot of cool shows and supporting those squats, and the idea behind, squatting basically is taking a derelict building and turning it into a home and not letting it go to waste. That was the idea for me, at least. I mean, that's what attracted me to it. And also is the only way that I can, afford to live in the city, because I really wanted to be there to just experience the city and just be a part of what's going on there and get involved in music and art. That was the only way. But at the same time, you know, be a part of a cool cause like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they still kind of have some of that going on in Europe. Like there's some of the really famous squats around Berlin that are still going.
Absolutely. And they were there like 30 years ago when I went there for the first time with NAUSEA on tour. It was great to see that and to experience that, meet all those people involved in it, you know. A lot of them still there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really cool. I mean, it's not, like you go in it and it's kind of similar to a lot of the other bars or whatever. It's not like the scary thing that if you weren't into that culture that, you know, it's not that scary. It's more of like a community building.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and a lot of them like do the shows and it's like a family thing and everybody kind of cleans up after each other. But then with that too, obviously, like you said, there can be some violence.
There can be some violence because it attracts, you know, people to go there and use it for different reasons. And, you know, and that's what messes everything up. And unfortunately, a lot of that has happened, you know, and I've seen a lot of that go down and, you know, kind of, in a way, just kind of maybe go, forget it. I'm done with this. Especially coming home, finding stuff of my own missing, like, you know, pedals, drums, and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, I'm done with this. You know, fuck it. Sorry.
Yeah, I think when it's like if you have that many people,
hard for the things that I have. And I have very little. It's like I can't afford to lose any more. You know, and it's unfortunate because there's a lot of people with their heart in it for the right reasons, and unfortunately there's a lot of people that are involved for the wrong reasons, and the people that mess it all up for everyone. So
totally, like with that many people in one place, like obviously there's going to be some people that don't have the same ideals and they're just going to fuck it up for everybody else that's trying to kind of have a community about it.
Yeah.
So in addition to drumming in bands, you're also a composer. What's the biggest difference in your frame of mind when you're drumming in bands versus like when you're scoring something?
Well, in a band, I mean, you're working with, you know, a bunch of other people and you're all, you know, hashing in ideas and structuring music. You know, it's different to composing. You're basically on your own and you're working to enhance a mood in a scene as opposed to writing a song. You know what I mean? It's different. It's way different.
Yeah. So what advice would you give musicians that are kind of looking into getting into composing? I have some friends and they're kind of entering that world of they want to do, you know, scoring and do more work like that. What would you give advice to those people?
Well, my advice I would tell them is I mean, first off, just have a lot of perseverance, obviously, and just, you know, but also just write as much as you can. I mean, even if it's just a minute, 2-minute sketches, just write it, put it away, write it, put it away. So at the end of the day, you have a library of music. So if you happen to, you know, run into a director or producer says, I need this kind of music, I need that kind of music, you'll have a ton of things to play these people. You know what I mean? That's something good to do. I'm always constantly writing. So whether it's for what I'm working on currently or if I'm not working on anything currently, I'll just walk in here and just start plugging away and see what I come up with. Like I'll set up my computer to run, I don't know, I'll just have like a template because everything's online here. So all I have to do is turn on my computer, turn on the template for this room. So there's like maybe like 10, 12 tracks going on right now. I have 12 outputs from all these synthesizers. They're all in there, so they're all ready to go. So I just hit record and let it run for, I don't know, half hour, and just plug away, record a bit, see what sounds good from that session, and then compile it down from that. And then what I think sounds good, I'll leave it and then work on something else. Everything's just always performed, always off the cuff and improvising, and then just record it all, record everything, and then just keep the best of it, or just put it away, you know, until you find someone that needs a certain style or needs a certain kind of sound, a kind of vibe or a mood. You'll know where to go to look for it. You don't have to sit there writing it. You've already written it. You know what I'm saying? So it keeps you a step ahead of the game.
That makes a lot of sense too, because also sometimes if you know, directors or producers are on a more fast turnaround, they don't really have time to wait. And if you can just show them what you've got, and then they can say, okay, you know, I like that, but give me more of this, give me more of that. What did you just do? You drank too much?
No, I just spilt everything on myself. That's all right.
I did that the other day.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, just in case you guys out there, there's something you need to all know about me. I'm actually willing to share this with everyone. But my nickname from every band I've ever been in, and it's just been gone down from generation to generation, is the Spiller. I walk in a room, I spill everything, myself even. See that pizza pie over there? Get it away from me. It's in the floor. See that drink over there? Move it out of the way, because you know what? I could somehow just go, it'll fall over. All right. So there you go.
You're clumsy.
Very clumsy.
So
I don't understand. I haven't spilled anything all over this shit yet. So thank God for that.
You just probably like have drinks with lids in your when you're in your studio.
There's a lid on this, and I managed to spill it on myself. So I don't know. Just saying. But go ahead.
So your bandmate, Corey Taylor, he gifted you the original Leatherface mask from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. How did that happen, and like why is that special for you? It's scary.
I mean, it's right. Yeah, it's hanging right over there. Well, I mean, I'm an avid horror fan, as he is as well, and he, you know, we both have an admiration for horror movies and monsters and villains and obviously masks. And you know, we both love Texas Chainsaw, Halloween. I mean, I love all that stuff. I love Michael Myers. I love the Leatherface and all that. And since he's befriended, I guess, you know, being friends with Tom Savini, because Savini worked on his mask for Slipknot. I guess I gave him the idea to get me a mask from Tom Savini, and knowing that I'm a Savini fan as well, and I'm a horror fan, and that's how that happened. Yeah, it was a big surprise. I couldn't believe he did that for me. It was awesome when I got that in the mail a few weeks ago, and you know, immediately messaged him and Tom, and Caroline Williams also autographed it for me, who was in Texas Chainsaw 2, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. Was that your birthday present from him?
Yeah, it was my birthday a few weeks ago.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you.
So, have you considered wearing the mask out as a kind of a joke?
Nah.
Since we all have to wear masks right now when we go out.
If I'm gonna wear any mask, it's gonna be that one.
I mean, that would be pretty funny.
That's a serious work of art. I would never wear that mask. Oh no. I mean, holy shit. Let me show it to you guys. It's the coolest thing.
Oh my god, it's so scary. Look at his ears.
I mean, once again, Tom, thank you. Corey, thank you. I love you. And Caroline. Yeah, they all signed the inside. Tom signed it. Caroline signed it. It's great.
That's awesome.
Amazing. It's amazing work. I mean, he's the master. Tom Savini is the master of special effects. You know.
That's so cool. It's really scary.
It is.
I don't know why, but for some reason the ears make it a little bit more scary on it.
Yeah.
The fact that it has ears.
Stuff on here. There's. I mean, look at it. It's got it's like from one. There's like one part of one face. That's a part of another face. That's a part of another face. There's eyes, ears, and nose. Hair.
Oh my god. Are you gonna put it in like a case or something so it doesn't get like dusty?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna switch it out with this mask up here, and put it on here, and then get the wig for it, and then put it in a case.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're about halfway through our questions. Will you play us a song?
I have really nothing to play because everything's kind of in, you know.
Well, I had to ask, but I don't know. I mean, it is weird doing a live show in this capacity now, you know? Like, I'm so used to... It's just weird how everybody has had to adjust in this time. It's like everyone's doing live stream performances. It's fucking weird. It is weird.
But you know what? It's also... I mean, it's awesome that we have the technology to adapt, at least in that way. You know, at least we can do that. At least bands can perform, like... cameras, you know, in a room on a soundstage. At least they can do that, you know. So
yeah,
it's a good thing, you know. It's also it's also making people do a lot of things they don't normally do, like go out for a walk. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And you know, just go out, you know, and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's making people do a lot of things they don't normally do, like spend a lot of time with each other, which and get off of this thing that we're talking on, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, the technology is great. Like, I think, you know, it's like, what would we be doing otherwise? So, like, speaking of all this, what have you been doing in this time to kind of entertain yourself and your family?
Well, we like I said, between from after even homeschooling, we'll go and you know go out, you know, for a little bike ride, scooter ride kind of thing. Just we got a pool back here. We go in the pool. We hang out in the backyard. Um, Sometimes Nico will go on her iPad and you know look at Billie Eilish videos, or you know, my wife will read, or I'll come in here and I'll you know write music.
What have you been working on musically lately? Have you written anything interesting or?
Um, right now, I'm just working on just creating that library of music I was talking about earlier. You know, so when the time comes, I'll have something to show when asked for. You know.
Totally. And you mentioned too that you just mixed an album for an artist, yeah?
Yeah, well, that happened like literally before the shit hit the fan a few months ago. This band called Godin. It's a new band. They're members of an old New York City sludgy doom metal band called Winter. I don't know if anybody's heard of them, but they were kind of part of the scene. NAUSEA used to play a lot of shows with them. I was involved with them for a minute. I played drums for them for a few shows. Actually, the guitar player Stefan Flam is the guy I'm talking about, who was in Winter. And now in Godin. I was actually in a band with him and John from NAUSEA, a band called Thorn, and we did some projects back then together. We made a record and played shows, but then he didn't do anything for the longest time, and then about a few years ago he put together this band with Vas Kalas, the singer from Hansel and Gretel. I don't know if anyone's familiar with them. Industrial band, they're great. So there's a new album coming out on Svart Records May 7th, a band called Godin, and I did mix the record. And
That's awesome.
pretty proud of it. It sounds killer.
That's so cool. It is weird in this time, like with artists having releases, and then it's like they're having to do alternative methods of press to promote these new releases.
It's a huge adjust for everyone. Yeah.
It's weird. It is weird. I mean, I birthed this show in this time too because I was like, fuck, I'm really bored. What am I going to do with my days?
You're doing good, I think. I mean, you're keeping busy by doing cool stuff like this, interviewing many different artists and stuff and people. It's good. Keep doing that.
Thanks. I have my days where I'm just like, God, I'm so over this quarantine. I'm just going to get fucking hammered.
Everyone is, man. It's crazy times, you know? It's definitely going to be in the history books, without a doubt.
I know. We're living through a point in history. It's weird. It's odd.
It's very strange. Yeah. I don't know what else to think and say about it, to be honest.
It's weird. It's weird when we're in it. It'll be interesting when we come out of it, and just I've seen so many funny memes about stuff about like how, you know, you can really use this time to find out what's important to you, and then silly memes like I laughed really hard at this one the other day, and it's like, in this quarantine, I've realized you don't need fun to have alcohol.
Well, if you couldn't have the drink, man, I think a lot of people will be losing their mind.
Oh, I know. It's like we're on Vegas hours right now, where it's like we're losing money by the minute. We don't know what day it is. It's appropriate.
Every day is Sunday. That's how we've been living Sunday for a month. Basically. I didn't even know what day it was today. I kept thinking today was Friday, and that was yesterday. It was like, today's Saturday. I'm like, oh shit, that's right. Today's Saturday.
Today is a day that ends in Y. That's what day it is.
Well, today is like yesterday, and today will be tomorrow. There you go. In a nutshell.
Okay, so you being originally a New Yorker, but living in LA, how do you feel about the stereotypes that New Yorkers put on Californians?
Well, I think in my circle of friends, that stigma is pretty much gone because 80% of my friends from New York live here now. So there you go.
That's funny.
I mean, I can speak for myself. 20 years ago, I moved here in 99. Actually, now it's going to be 21 years ago. I never had a problem with this place. I mean, this place is, I mean, the first time I ever came here was in 1990 on a West Coast tour with NAUSEA and Glisten Max. If anyone remembers Glisten Max, they're a great band from Long Beach. I can remember thinking like, man, I would love to live out here because the weather is great. It's always sunny here. It's never cold. I'm sick of being cold. And I don't know. I fell in love with the place. And then when I had the chance to move here, I did, you know?
Yeah.
And for what I'm doing, you know, artistically and musically, I just felt it was a better place for me to live in. And I just was paying so much rent in New York at the time, and I was working 3 different jobs just to make $500-600 a week, if that, you know. And I just found myself just working to live there, and I just couldn't handle that anymore. And I just felt it was a better place to move to for me.
For sure.
And yeah, so after that, and a few years down the road, like a lot of my friends that were naysayers are all living here now. So, you know, but whatever, I still love New York, and the fact that my friends that are still there makes me love that place still. If they weren't there, I wouldn't love it anymore.
Yeah. The last time I was there was last May, and I met up with, I don't know if you knew Jimmy Webb, he just passed away. And I remember just walking down the street with him, and I felt so LA in that moment. I felt so out of place because he was just so New York, and he was like, he's like, this is it. Like, I just love the vibe. I love walking. And I was like, I miss my car. I miss my air conditioning in my car. It's really fucking hot today.
Yeah, that's one thing. I remember, I mean, now that I drive, I never drove when I lived in New York, obviously, because, you know, I was right there. I didn't have to go I just take a cab, or I walked, or I took the subway. I can remember every time now, after learning how to drive, I would go home once a year to visit my mom. I would go stir crazy after a while, like, where's my car? But then I'm like, okay, I got to get back in a whole other different frame of mind. I could just hop on the subway. It's no big deal. But then there's that time where you just get stuck in the tube, you know, for like 15 minutes because there's another train in front of you. And you're just like, oh shit. And you're stuck with everyone like this. It's like, this sucks. and then the power goes out.
Have you seen the Instagram page Subway Creatures? It's so fucking funny.
No.
Oh my god, you have to check it out. They document like all the weird shit from the New York subways.
There's a lot of weird shit in the New York subways.
You have to check out that page. It's really fucking funny. So around this time
I do miss New York, though. I miss my friends there, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I love New York, but every time I'm there, like I said, I'm made aware of how LA I am. I'm like, God, I feel really out of place here.
Why?
Because I'm not a New Yorker, and I don't know, the vibe. LA is so different. Like, you know, I'm from Florida originally, and I moved to LA, and I'm not a New Yorker.
Are you having a good time when you're there?
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Totally. So around this time last year, you joined the band Hellyeah after Vinny Paul passed away. What was the most challenging thing for you stepping into that role?
Well, learning his parts, because they're not easy. That was very challenging. And yeah, I mean, just getting into his head on how he plays, because he's a very different player to what people might think. He's a righty drummer. When I mean righty, I mean he plays right-handed, but he leads a lot with his left. I don't. I lead with my right because I'm a right-handed drummer. So that was a big challenge, learning how to do that, and to lead certain drum beats starting with your left foot, which he did as well. But anyone could say that doesn't know drums say, why can't you just play it just play the parts that, you know, right-wise. It doesn't work that way. The parts don't sound right if you play them normal like a right-handed drummer. You have to play it like how that individual played it, how they approach it in order for it to sound right. So that was a big challenge, and trying to meld his style with how I play to make it to the point where it was seamless and subconscious and not, you know, thought heavy. So I could just play it so it comes out naturally. That was a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big role to step into. He was loved by so many people.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was a good friend, man. Like, he was a good friend of mine as well. I mean, that's why I was asked to do it. Um, yeah, it was heavy, man. And just the whole thought of it, of he's not here and I'm here with his band doing it. That was, yeah, I mean, that was strange and just crazy to get past that thought too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
So can you share your favorite story or one of your best stories from Vinnie Paul from your time that you spent with him?
I got a lot of great stories. A lot of good ones. A lot of ones that I probably shouldn't be telling. No, just kidding. I got a lot of great stories. I got one really fun one. There's one time where Stone Sour was on tour with Hellyeah. It was in 2010. We were in Europe. We did a European tour. It was Hellyeah, Stone Sour, and Avenged Sevenfold. So this show wasn't with Avenged. This was just Stone Sour and Hellyeah. And it was in Berlin, I think. I was in my dressing room with my practice kit, and they were in the room next door, and he was just walking past. I was playing one of his beats from Pantera, the song called Becoming. It's, for every drummer out there, you guys know this song. It's fucking the most insane double bass pattern I think ever. It's crazy. Like, you're leading with your left and you're doing all your triplets on your right, but then you're keeping time with your right hand and downbeat with your left. It's the most crisscrossed cut the brain in four pieces drum beat ever. And it's just impossible for anyone to just play it, because it's so Vinny, it's so him, it's so his style. So I'm in there trying to play this beat as well as best I can. At least to my knowledge, I thought I was doing it right, because I actually, what I learned later, I was doing it completely the opposite way he did it. I was leading with my right, doing all my tricks with my left, which is completely wrong. And the beat sounds completely wrong, but in my head it sounded right. So he walks past the dressing room, and a really big, loud, southern, loud voice of his. He goes, "You never call me by my first name either. You always call me by my last name." He's like, "Mayorga!" I'm like, "Damn, what?" He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What does this look like I'm doing?" Like, "Well, it sounds like you're butchering one of my drum beats." I go, "Well, will you care to show me how this is played?" He's like, "Yeah, give me them sticks." He takes the sticks, and then he explains the whole drum beat to me, how I just explained it to you. And he was like, "Well, look, you gotta lead with your left. It's like keeping time with your hi-hat." I'm like, "Okay." And then you gotta just throw in the triplets, the double triplets with your right foot. I go, "How am I gonna get that?" He's like, "I don't know, man. You're gonna have to figure it out. But you know what? When you get it down, it feels good."
I would imagine it sounds like trying to like.
I looked at him like, "It feels good?" He's like, "Yeah, man, it feels good." It was the coolest moment ever, man. I'll never forget that. And yeah, we've been good friends for a long time. And the first time I met him was when he was still with Pantera, and I just joined SOULFLY, and we played Ozfest '98 in Milton Keynes Bowl in England. It was Black Sabbath, Pantera, SOULFLY, Foo Fighters, Anthrax. It was an insane bill. It was great, and that's how we first met. We've been friends ever since.
That's a nice story. You must miss him.
I do miss him, man. I miss him a lot. You know, I still have a pair of the sticks that he gave me from that tour that go with me everywhere when I do the Hellyeah shows. It stays in my kick drum off to the side in one of the spokes, so he's there with me.
That's nice. That's really special.
They're right here. Yeah. Oh no, they're not here. I put them away. In a safe place. So when I go back on the road with Hellyeah, if and when we do, they'll be with me.
Oh, I know. It's like, what are they saying now that maybe shows won't even resume until like 2021?
Yeah, I know. It's like, man, it's going to change. Our whole way of life is going to completely be different. I mean, everyone's going to think twice about shaking each other's hands or hugging each other. It's weird.
You think so? I think that when they announce it'll be over, people will be really excited to be physical again.
when I feel if when there's a pot when there's an actual cure, then people will. I think there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be like, yeah, how you doing, kind of thing. Kick your foot to say hello. You know what I mean? Or just kind of go.
Yeah. I mean, like I can't even imagine. I don't think that we'll be leaving our houses by May 15th, to be honest with
Hell
you.
no,
I don't
absolutely
think that's happening.
no, no, definitely not.
I think like some people are really optimistic and they're like, oh yeah. And I'm like, you really believe that? I don't fucking believe that.
Look, I don't believe in. There's no such thing as giving a mandate to Mother Nature. Mother Nature says when she says it's okay to get out of your house, she says it's okay. That's it. It's not up to us.
Totally.
Not up to us.
So with everything that you've accomplished already in your really full career, what are some goals you have still for the future?
Well, my goal now for the future is, I mean, to get more into film and more into composing with all this stuff you see here. It's more it's more what I really want to get into. And I still want to play drums. I still want to play in a band. I still want to do that. But I definitely want this because I don't know how much longer, you know, I can do it. You know, we all physically have a shelf life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in great shape. I could still throw down and do a 2-year tour tomorrow if I wanted to. But I mean, by the time I'm 65, 70, I want to still be able to do this. But I'm never going to stop playing drums. I'll be playing drums until I can, you know. So.
Yeah, I think it's smart as a musician to have that option of like touring is really strenuous. Even if you're in great shape, touring is strenuous. It's exhausting.
It is. A lot of people don't seem to realize it, but it takes a toll on you, especially for guys like me, for drummers. I mean, I think between drummers and singers, they're jumping everywhere, you know, everyone, guitar players, bass players, you know, they're carrying, you know, 10-piece pound of wood on their backs. You know, that fucks their backs up after a while, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone's got issues you know, health issues and physical issues after a while touring. No matter if you're a drummer, singer, guitar player, bass player, road crew, you know, they get it the worst.
Even just like mental issues of like getting a little nutty, like having to spend so much time with the same people.
That, like, yeah, like on a Petri bus on wheels, yeah. Petri dish. But I mean, the other thing, just being away from your family, I mean, that's a huge sacrifice. I mean, I mean, just what I do for a living, you know, what I'm trying to do right now is create a secondary career so I can at least be home a little more. Now that my daughter's growing up, I want to be in her life. I don't want to go through what my friends went through, you know, touring back in the day and miss their whole kid's childhood, you know. And that's how problems happen between parents and, you know, and kids. And I don't want that, you know.
Totally. So, of all the people you've met, who has been the person that made you the most starstruck and why? Tell the story.
First thing made me the most starstruck.
There has to be somebody where you met him and you were just like kind of inside, like freaking out, like holy shit.
Well, I usually keep that in check and keep it inside my head and then freak out later. But I think that moment would be when I first met Neil Peart from Rush. One of my favorite drummers, and he just so happened to be in the studio next door to where I was recording with Stone Sour, because our producer Nick Resculenix was producing a Rush record and producing our record at the same time during middle of the week, for like a week during the middle of our recording session, and it was my birthday week, and he told me that, you know, Neil wanted to meet me. I'm like, what? He's like, well, yeah. He's like, he was in here and he saw your drums. He saw that you're using his line of cymbals. He came up with a line of cymbals in Sabian called Paragons, really cool traditional sounding cymbals, and I used them. But I had a certain version of a cymbal that he didn't have. Like I have like a 22-inch crash that I use that was made under his style. And I guess he was kind of like, well, that's interesting because I don't even have one of those. Who is this? He's like, who is this kid? I want to meet this kid. So Nick took me next door to the other building that was in the compound of the studio that we're at. And I got to meet him, and it was definitely a holy shit moment because I never thought in a million years I would ever meet this guy. You know, because I had looked up to him as a drummer, for years, since I was a kid. You know, since the first time I ever heard 2112 or Working Man drum solo on the All the World's a Stage record. I mean, after that, this guy was my favorite drummer. So we just sat there and bullshitted and had. He poured me a glass of his Macallan 18 whiskey, whatever he was drinking, and we just bullshitted for like a half hour about things, life, and cymbals and drums. And I was looking at his drums and I was talking to him about tuning. And then he's like, well, instead of talking about the tuning, why don't you go try him out? So he gave me his sticks and I got on his drum kit and just freaked the fuck out and just played every riff I could remember that was Rush related. And like within, I don't know, it felt like, it was probably like about a good minute of jamming, but it felt like a second because it was just so mind blowing that even happened. And I can remember turning around and looking at him and he's like leaning up on his cymbal boom arm with his cup of whiskey and looks at me. He's like, it's pretty cool, eh? I'm like, yeah, very cool. And we just continued to talk and he was like super cool, very gentleman, very gracious, awesome person. Really
That's
down
so
to earth,
cool.
very down to earth, and I'm really happy he was like that because I always was scared to meet people that I admired and that I looked up to, and you know, I'm glad he was cool. You know, he's a good dude.
Yeah, that's always awesome when you meet people that you idolize and they're humble and you know they're like a real person.
Total real person. Yeah, he's just a badass drummer. You know what I mean? And a really cool person. Yeah.
That's such a cool story. Okay, so if you had to remove one of your tattoos, which would it be? You got a lot of them, so there has to be a couple in there where you're like, fuck, I wish I didn't get that.
Probably be that one.
What is it?
Not worth mentioning, but something I'd like to get. I'd like to get removed one of these days.
I can't see it far away, so I'm like, what is it?
Well, now it's nothing. It's just a
Just a blob.
Just a blob. Yeah. Doesn't do anything.
That's funny. All right, so the last question of our 20 questions game. Favorite Stone Sour memory? You've been in the band for like, what, 14 years now?
Yeah. Got so many good memories. My favorite Stone Sour memory is, one off the top of my head, is when we did a surprise birthday sing-along for Corey at the SSE, I think it's called, in Scotland, in Glasgow, in the middle of the show. As he was about to announce a song, myself and Christian, a guitar player, pre-recorded something, a birthday greeting kind of interruption thing. And I had it on, I sampled it into my playback machine, what I normally use to hit the backing tracks that we have for some of the songs. When I say backing tracks, I mean synthesizers, and that's it. We play everything. Just to clear that up in case anyone asks about that. Anyway, just to give a quick backstory on what we said and what we did. There's a voice in the beginning of the Hydrograd album that we just made that, hello, you bastards! That's me, imitating whatever, just doing a voice. So I came up with that same voice, basically saying, happy birthday to you, you bastards! Like in the middle of his show, in the middle of his banter, and he just kind of like clammed up and was like, what the fuck? And we all came out with birthday cake and made like everyone in the room sing happy birthday to him. It was like 5,000 people singing happy birthday to him. It was a really amazing moment. He got a little emotional. It was great.
I was gonna say, did he cry?
That was one of my favorite moments. There's many moments we had, but that was one moment that I'll never forget. It was fun. It was great.
And so did he cry? He cried a little bit. I mean, it'd be kind of hard not to. That's such a beautiful moment, you know, of like so much love being sent your way.
He's my brother, man. Those are my brothers. I love those guys. I miss those guys. I haven't seen them in so long. I mean, actually saw Corey recently, but as far like I haven't seen Chow since our last show together. And that was like 2018 of December. Yeah, long time.
FaceTime. It's a good
Yeah,
time for FaceTimes.
that's it. But I mean, as physically seeing them in front of me, it's
Yeah.
I miss those guys. I miss playing with them.
I know. We ain't seeing anybody in front of us anytime soon.
I know, man. It sucks. It really sucks. But you know what? This time right now, it's at least it's making an individual reach out to people, you know, and it's great. You know, I've actually been talking to a lot of different people I haven't talked to in a long time, so it's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's the end of my questions. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me on this weird, silly little show. And I want to tell everyone out there, please go follow Roy at Roy Mayorga Official. Go follow his band, Stone Sour and Hellyeah. And thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I
have
hope
a
to
good
see
day.
you. I hope to see you after all this craziness. And
Oh, I know, right?
and everybody else
Whenever
out
that'll
there.
be.
I wish everyone the best. Stay healthy, stay safe. Much love to you all.
Bye.
Take it easy.